Hello everybody. Today I want to talk to you about your Rootworker's Toolkit. Now what do I mean by the Rootworker's Toolkit? Your toolkit is the spirits, tools, processes, and strategies you use in order to navigate a spiritual life in a mundane world. And in my opinion, there are 5 things that you need to have in your toolkit in order to successfully have a spiritual lifestyle and to manifest your intentions. The first thing in your toolkit should be your ancestors. Your ancestors are your guides and protectors on the other side. Like I said, they're going to guide you, they're going to protect you, they're there as your spiritual backup, and without a strong, healthy relationship with your ancestors and guides, you're going to find it to be much harder to manifest your intentions and have your spells manifest successfully. The second thing in your Rootworker's Toolkit should be your family and or cultural traditions. Family traditions and cultural traditions are actually rituals which have been performed across generations, and so they have accumulated power and meaning. And so by practicing your family and cultural traditions, you are simultaneously adding to and drawing upon that accumulated pool of power. I can also say from personal experience that as a southerner transplanted to the Pacific Northwest, by participating in the rituals of my culture and the traditions of my family, it helps me to draw closer to my ancestors. And that goes back to number 1, having a healthy relationship with your ancestors. The third thing in your Rootworker's Toolkit is going to be your receipt book or some kind of record. When people think of a receipt book, they think of those little books you get from your landlord when they write your rent receipt. But actually, a receipt book is a book of things received, and in this book is what you're going to keep your spells, your formulas, your prayers, anything that you feel like empowers you. And the thing about it is, when you perform a spell or a prayer or what have you, you don't always know if it's gonna work or not. So you have to keep a record of it and then follow up so you know what the outcome of it was. And this is going to go back to the next thing that I'm going to talk about, which is the 4th item in your Rootworker's Toolkit, which should be your tried and true spells. And that's exactly what they sound like. Your tried and true spells are spells that you have worked, and they have a high success of working for you, a high degree of success working for you and manifesting the way you want. And again, the only way to figure this out is to do them, keep a record of it, and see how it goes. You know, I'm often on Facebook and other social medias, and I see people, and they're mostly beginners and younger people, who will say, I need a spell for this, or I need a good spell for that. Well, the reason you experiment and keep a record is so that you don't have to go do that. For example, if I need a spell for quick money, I have a spell for quick money. If I need a spell to bring back a lover, I have a spell that brings back a lover. And so this is how you build up your tried and true spells. And then finally, the 5th thing in your Rootworker's Toolkit is some form of divination. You should be proficient in some form of divination where you can, whether it's reading the tarot cards, playing cards, Lenormand cards, throwing the bones, astrology, working with pendulum, what have you. You should be able to have some way to communicate with the divine in order to get some type of insight, instruction, or knowledge of future events. Even if you have other gifts, for example, if you have visions, if you hear voices, if you dream true, these things cannot always be controlled or called upon on demand. So you will need another outlet in order to access the divine and gain knowledge. I also want to say that if you feel like you don't have any gifts right now, by practicing some form of divination, those gifts that you do have you can find them and they can begin to manifest, and you can nurture and grow them. If you are already aware of your gifts, such as dreaming true or having visions, you'll find that if you practice some form of divination, these things can work together. For example, when I was much younger, I saw visions in my head. I still do. But it started as visions in my head. It's just like a little movie in my head when I'm talking to people. And so when I found that I had a gift for reading the tarot, I started out reading the tarot, and the pictures I saw on the cards and the pictures I saw in my head helped me to really get to the root of a problem and find out what's going on in a person's life and the best course of action. So, again, to sum it up really quick, the Rootworker's Toolkit is a metaphor for the spirits, processes, and strategies that you use to navigate a spiritual life in a mundane world. And these 5 items that I recommend that you have in your toolkit are a strong, healthy relationship with your ancestors, family traditions that you actively practice and participate in, your receipt book, your tried and true spells, and finally, some form of divination. Alright, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone.